Solo.
And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We got 2 games for you today, both of them from Button Shy Games. They were review copies sent to me, so thanks again to them. They had sent me Battle Crest about 2 months ago, I think it was. Really dig that game. That is a very interesting skirmish game, so it's made for 1 or 2 players. With 1 player, there is the Imperator? I think it's the Imperator. Really lots of stuff going on. Definitely reaches to the outer edges of what I think is possible with 18 cards. Potentially could be better off if they just made that like a small box game, especially with the added content. They have sent me some expansions to Battlecrest. I will loop back to that in the future. I do have a bunch of review copies I want to get to before then, but you will see Battlecrest again. These 2 games today, you probably won't see again. Doesn't mean I don't like them, but one's a legacy game, so that's always tough to do on a channel because of spoiler concerns. So that's going to be Wildtails. But first, we are going to do Fishing Lessons, which is a game by Scott Alms. If you don't know that name, Scott Alms designed Warp's Edge. He designed a bunch of the Tiny Epic series, maybe the whole thing. I'm not exactly sure. Fishing Lessons is fine. Like spoiler alert, it's not for me. I'm hesitant to rag on it too much because I don't think it was made for me. I don't think it was. I think there was. I'm going to tread lightly. I think there's a backstory to Fishing Lessons, is my guess. It seems like a very personal game, and I don't want to rag on someone's design. Hold on, I feel like I'm missing a card. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I had 10 there. I don't know. I kept printing 9. So we'll get into that first. That will take about 5-10 minutes. If someone could just pop in the chat, let me know that the audio is coming through and that we're all good there. That would be super appreciated. Speaking is hard, but let's get to it. So Fishing Lessons. Let me kind of talk about what I'm trying to say. This game is pretty much a family mourning the loss of an older gentleman, so like the grandfather figure in a family, and now they're going out fishing and remembering the lessons that he taught them. So again, a little bit of the flavor text here. It's been a year since Leland Williams passed on. As a member of his family going out on the solo fishing trip, applied Leland's lessons to have a great day on the lake. And then you play as Leland's wife, his brother, his neighbor, his grandson, his son, granddaughter, child defender, son-in-law. So I'm guessing there is a very personal element of this design. This game is I don't want to say it's a kid's game. It feels like a kid's game. I think this could be really good for like a kid of whatever. It says 8+. I mean, if you have a smarter child, I can think 6 or 7, or I think it's just for like maybe an older person, or this is really just a game for a family to remember their loved one. Brian Scott, like, audio is great. Hello, Greg. What's up, Brian? Thank you very much. So that's cool. Like, there is someone that this game is for. It is fairly routine. I will win this game more often than not. I think anyone who's played any games would be able to say the same thing. I do have the expansions. The expansions, we have the family friends. So that added a couple of extra playable characters, and then it also added a couple of lessons. And then there's also the Fabled Fish, which added these 4 cards. You just throw 1 in. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this set up pretty quick. The base game has 7 of these lake tiles, and on the lake tiles on the back, you'll have 2 kinds of fish on each one. Now, so across the 7 cards, you have 14 different fish. 7 of them are going to be S's, so you have the silver carps. 3 of them are going to be C's, so you have the 4 of them will back up. Out of the 14, 4 of them will be S's, the silver carps. 4 of them will be C's, which are the flathead catfishes. 3 will be the T's, which is the blue tilapia. And 3 of them will be the B's, which are the blue gills. Depending on who you're playing as is what you're trying to catch. At the end of the game, say I had Maya, I would need to have 3 cards face up that have C's and 2 cards up that face up that have B's. In that case, I could ignore the other fish on that card. But if I had like this TS up, it doesn't satisfy the C or the B requirement, that would cause me to lose. So at the end of the game, what you're trying to do is manipulate which cards, oops, Maya's a little off the camera here, sorry about that. What you're trying to do is manipulate the cards so that only the fish that you want to catch are face up at the end. If you're playing on easy mode, you would evaluate win condition at the end of every one action. If you're playing on medium mode, you'd evaluate at the end of any one turn. If you're playing on hard mode, you'll evaluate at the end of the game, which is when you draw the 5th lesson from the deck. There will only be 5 lessons in the deck, so at most this is a 5-round game. Additionally, I had the 2 optional variants to make it harder. You have boat ramp, so generally you would start in the middle of the lake. When you're playing with boat ramp, you have to start and end on the leftmost portion of the lake. And then night fishing, generally you can replace lessons as much as you want. Night fishing, you only replace 2 lessons over the course of the game, and now it makes sense. We'll basically there's like a bit of a programming element of this, like Robo Rally or Mechs vs. Minions, where you're going to take these lessons from Leland, and so you're going to remember how he taught you how to fish in this lake, and you're going to put them out. And now when you arrange them, you can put them in the middle. You're going to add a new lesson every round. You could put them in front, behind. If there's multiple lessons out, you can put them in the middle, or you could replace. Again, if we're playing night fishing, you'd only replace 2. The fabled fish, we're going to add one of these at random into the mix of this lake, so it's going to throw off the quantity of fish of that site. So you're going to want to figure out which one of these is in play pretty soon, because they also will cause you to flip other cards that can definitely change your math. So we're going to have the alligator gar, which has an extra B, the paddlefish, which has an extra C, the blue tilapia, which has an extra, the pallid sturgeon, which has an extra T, and the piebald catfish, which has an extra S. And then when they reveal, they do certain things. So I'm just going to roll the die here. Bam, I rolled 3. We're going to add that, and then we're going to shuffle this in with these 7 other cards. All right, so this is going to be our lake for today. So again, normally you would start in either one of the 2 middles if you're playing with the fabled fish. I'm just going to start over in the left, and I'm going to do, again, that boat ramp variant. I will not necessarily start with Maya. Let's see who we're going to fish with. So it'll be 1, back will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll roll a D8 and see who we got. 7 is going to be Jaden. So Jaden remembers when trying to cast for the first time, he tossed his rod into the lake. His grandfather smiled and tossed his in too to make him feel better. We need 4 S's face up by the end. Now some of these do get interesting. You have like the 2-2-2. You have the 2-2, but the card under the boat must be face down at the end of the game, or to trigger the win condition if you're playing on whatever mode you're playing on. We have 2 and 2, and the end cards must be both face up. We have Jai. Now, I don't know how that would work. I mean, there are some cards that allow you to switch things around, but they might not necessarily be in play, so that could be a rough one to do. And then you have the 3-2. They're all, pretty much the same kind of puzzle. I mean, for real, in 5 rounds, we just want to see where everything is that we need, and then we're going to want to set up, basically what's going to trigger our end game victory condition. These lessons have movement and they have reveal conditions. If you're at the end, you could forgo movement by choosing to move off. So say I'm here and I have moved 3, I would just be able to move 2 if I chose to go to the left. If I was here and I'd move 3, I could choose also to go to the left and just basically forego my movement. So there are ways that you can kind of get yourself in like an end game scenario where it's like, oh, these cards will allow me to have the exact ratio I need at the end of the 5th turn. And I'm just going to keep moving off to the left and just, whatever. So basically, I want a lot of movement early so I can get across the lake, reveal what I need to do, and then get back. Again, we have to do that in 5 turns. So, again, not a whole lot to this game. It's, I don't know. I'm hoping like someone's out there like, this is perfect for my son, or this resonates with me, or like I don't know. There's definitely, again, I'm hesitant to be I don't know. I feel like I'm stuck, dude. Like I think there's something very personal about this game that I'm hesitant to kind of rag on it too much. It's fine. It's perfectly fine for what it is, and I think for some people out there, this could be exactly the kind of thing that they're gonna want. For me, like, I will probably never play it again after putting it on the channel today, and that's not something I will say very often. Although it's really hot here. What's going on? I'm gonna lower my heat because my wife keeps burning me out of my own house. All right, we're good. So I'm going to take 2 of these lessons out because we got the extra lessons with the expansion. So we only need 8 in our deck for the game. So 2 of them just come out randomly. And then we'll put the deck of lessons here. And we start the game with 3 lessons in our hands. Now, our hand is a move. I'll put my hand somewhere off to the side. So we have a move 3. We move 3 and then flip in a certain orientation. There's flip flip and then a move 2, and then there's flip flip and then a move 1 or 3. So we have to do that exactly. We cannot move 2. Brian says it's a filler game. Maybe. I don't know, man. I, I mean, I play filler games. I like filler games. I don't even know if it hits that mark. That I don't even know if it hits that for me. Like, what's it filling, right? Like, I don't know. It is what it is. But let's do it. So we're gonna do a move 3, and then sorry, we have to pick one of these 3 lessons. I'm gonna pick the move 3, and then it has the 2 patterns for flipping. Either we need to flip the 1 immediately to our left and the 1 2 to our right, or the 1 2 to our left and then the 1 immediately to our right. So I'm moving 3, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to pick this pattern. So I'm going to flip this card over here. It has a C and a T, so we definitely need that card flipped down by the end of this. And then we flip this over here. It has a B and an S, so that would qualify for one of our 4 S's. That's all the lessons I have. We go to the end. So since the lessons are over, we then pick up a card into our hand. Let's move 1, 2, or 3, and then flip over a bunch of stuff. So we're in the second round. I'm going to add a lesson to my thing. Now I could replace this. I don't want to. I'm going to actually put this down here. It says I can move 3, so we're going to move 1, 2, and 3. I can flip a card immediately to my left. I can flip that card. I can flip that card and nothing, or I can flip that card and flip that back. I will flip this card and flip this card back, remembering that that's one of the, assuming there's only 4 S's in play, I might need that card face up by the end. So we know that card 5 is something I need. So I do want to flip 2 cards. So I'm going to flip this back face over and flip this over. It does not have an S. And now I can move 1, 2, or 3, but I do need to flip this back down before I go over. So I'm just going to move the 1, and it lets me flip 3 cards, this, and this, but there's no card there, so I just ignore that part of it. So we flip this back over and flip this back over. There's another S. So I know that's an S. I know that's an S. I don't actually know what that card is yet, and I know I need to flip this back over. So these are 2 of the 4 cards I need. And I still have not found the Fabled fish, which would really mess up my plans here. So hopefully we don't get too unlucky with that. So I get a new lesson. Peek at 1 face down card. Do not flip. That could be super important. Do I want to do this first and then move 1? Figuring out the puzzle. I don't know what that card is yet, right? Correct. Yeah, I never flipped that. I know those 2 are S's. I don't know what that is. I ignored that. So let me figure what that is, and then I could peek. That's even better. So I put this lesson in play here. So I haven't used any of those at all, but this lets me peek, which is important. So I'm going to flip this card. It is not the Fabled fish. It is an S. Now I can peek at 1 or move 1. The only 2 cards I don't know are these 2 here and here. We know that these 3 cards are all S's. I don't know what that card is either. Move 3. Yeah, I don't know what that card is either. I know that these 3 in a row These three are S's, and I don't know what the 4 is. Is that right? Yeah, because I moved 3 and I did that and that. So I'm going to peek at this middle one. This is the Fabled fish. When revealed, flip the 2 cards at either end of the lake face up. I definitely do not want to do that because I definitely do not want that card involved. So it's good I know what that is. And since I just peeked at it, I'm going to put it back down. So we know this is an S, this is an S, this is an S. We don't know what these 2 cards are. Well, one of them has to be an S, but the good thing is we know what the Fabled fish is, and the Fabled fish is going to stay face down. All right, so it's basically, we get to peek at it when revealed. Since it wasn't revealed, we just peeked at it. We're just going to put that back down. So I need to move 3, and I need to get this back. So because I did the flip action here, I peeked. I'm going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. That's not great. That's the one I just peeked at, right? Yeah. So I will now flip 2 different patterns. I have to flip this down. Like if I flip this and this, which is a problem, so I have to do the other one. I'm almost tempted to do the movement that way. And then I move the 3. I'm going to do movement into the corner. I will flip this and not this because I'm choosing that pattern. And now I'm going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. And I flip with using that action there. And I'm going to flip this, S, S, and flip this from that. It's my last S. So I have the 4 reveal that I want to reveal. So I basically have 2 more turns that I need to get over to the corner and get those both flip face down, and then I'll win, which will be glorious. So I get my new lesson. What do I get? I get flip down, swap 2 face down cards. And how do I want to do this? I don't really want to carry that action anymore. But again, remember, I'm only going to replace 2 because I'm playing on the night mode. So I will replace this 1. So this comes out of the game. So I'm going to flip 1, move 3. Oh, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. So I can take any of these. I know I don't want to flip that face over. So that's a problem. None of them have move for me, which is a problem. So I kind of need to take that one. I could swap 2 cards that way. Flip, flip. I could flip, flip, move 1 or 3. Then I'm moving 3 again. This is silly. This is silly. I definitely can't flip those back over. Yeah, I have to figure out this. That's gross. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to pull this off. Flip. Flippy flips. I could do that. Yeah, I'm going to have to make it work this way. So we're going to flip this. We're carrying out this lesson. I need to get that back to an S at some point. We're going to swap 2 face down cards. I want to swap this out and move that over there. Now we're going to 1. I have to flip this back over. I need to flip this back over. These are the two I switched. I'm going to switch these two and get this thing closer to that end, which is where I need, because it's the S that I need to get back. And I'm going to need to get that S back too, which is a problem. So I'm going to, now I did the swap to, we're going to flip. I can peek or I can move one. I will, if I move one and then 1, 2, 3, we're way out. If I move one, I'll move one this way. Now I'm going to move 3. I'm going to flip this, it doesn't exist. And now I can move 3. That's a problem. Yeah, this isn't going to work. We're not going to get there. And now I can move 1, 2, or 3. Try to do it this way. I'm going to move just the 1. We're going to flip this, and flip this. So now all 3 of the S's that I need are all flipped face down, which is awesome. We draw a lesson. That's bad. I know that's bad. I know I need these 3. I'm going to add this lesson and just hope that it works out, because I don't think I have another choice. So we're going to do this, flip 1 and 2, move 1 or 3. I'm going to move 3, 1, 2, and 3. We flip this. Oh, I'll replace this one. That's what I want to do. That's perfect, I think. So I replace this instead of just putting this in the front of the line. I replace this with this, and then I flip this and this. All 4 of the S's are out. We'll see if this is going to be enough. I can move 1 or peek. Move 1 or peek. I have to end here. I think that's going to screw me. Move 1 or peek. That's going to be hard to flip face up. I did those 2. Let me do this actually. Instead of doing those 2, I'll do these 2. So I know I don't want that face up in the end, but that's fine. I can move 1 or 3. I will move. I forgot what I did. I will move. Did I move the 1? I forgot where I started, guys. I don't even know. Like, I totally forgot where I started. I just flipped those 2 over. I forgot where this round started. I'm totally screwed up. I can't remember if I did that flip action or not, is what's killing me. If I did that action, then I think it was like this. Yeah, I think what I did was, I think I started here. I never flipped that over. And I think this was like this when the round started. I think that's accurate. Because then I flipped those 2, I moved 1, I flipped those 2, is what I think I did. So let me try this again. I'm going to flip these 2 again. I'm going to move 1. I'm going to flip these 2. I'm going to move. I could peek or move 1. I'm gonna move 1. I'm gonna flip this and this, which doesn't get flipped. But then I got that gets flipped. Now I have to. I'm gonna flip this and this, but that's a big problem. Yeah, we didn't pull it off. Whatever, we lost. It is what it is. I mean, at some point you see how it comes together. Um, this would flip. This would flip. Yeah, and then I just have 3 S's up, so we didn't hit our win condition. Um, we had it if we were playing on medium, but since we're playing on the hard mode, it didn't work out. But I mean, it's a puzzle. I mean, you're definitely relying on the fact if it's a lot easier. Like if one of the S's had been under the final thing, it's a lot easier to find the card that flips the card directly under you. But once I draw the last lesson, the game immediately ends because this pile is dead. So I don't. The rules seem to say it ends immediately once the lesson pile is done. So I don't think you would draw a card and then have another turn. But either way, I mean, there's not a lot to it. Um, there's some skill to it. There's definitely some luck with how the cards come out. Like being at the peak at that was important, but I wasn't able to get the lessons that I needed to, get the puzzle to come together. Playing with the night ramp and having to go and come back, definitely increases the difficulty. I wouldn't play without that rule though, but you're really just going out scouting and then you're just coming back and trying to get the cards in the right place. So that's fishing lessons. That's the end of that. Wildtails. Now, Wildtails is a game that I actually kind of like. There's a lot to like about it from a experiential standpoint. It is a legacy game. There are stickers. There is a problem with some of the sticker sheets, although it's been corrected. The manufacturer is very aware of that. So there's like a form you can go in and fill out if your sticker sheet comes in wrong. So I'm going to get that, and then I'll just play through the legacy on my own off camera. But you'll definitely see some spots that are going to have stickers that are going to add to the difficulty of the game as you go forward. I'm setting up for the base scenario. We'll go through a little bit of flavor text. And then as it works, there's like a QR code you can plug in. It will take you right to a campaign page. It's all very, very user friendly. And then it will kind of get into the story and then tell you what to set up. Basically, as you set up, you're going to be told to put out your 2 characters. You can play this with 1 or 2 people. And then it's going to tell you to set out 2 objectives, at least for the first part of the campaign. These objectives are things that you're going to want to take and you're going to want to achieve. And once both characters have gotten to level 4 of their objective, that unlocks the ability to defeat the threat that you're facing in this scenario. Now, the threat you're facing in the first scenario are the raiders. The raiders are, again, this is a pretty intro scenario, learn the ropes, so forth and so on. In the meantime, you have these little location cards, and we're going to be going to these various locations and getting some resources. The resource we get depends on how we interact with the location. Each location has 4 different options. The options are number 1, you could just take the base resource, which is the level 1 resource. Options 2 and 3 are always like you can spend a resource. Option 4 is always some kind of test. So you can test one of your skills. Your skills are here along the side. And then when you test your skill, if you pass the test, then you could take the 4th reward. Whatever reward you take from that card, if you pass the test and you fail, it just goes away. You get no reward. But if whatever reward you take on your card, you would just tuck it underneath your character. And then at any point, the stronghold, which is like kind of a shared area for both of you, the stronghold can hold 0 to 3 resources. So at some point, as a free passive action, near the end of your turn, you can say, I'm going to put those 2 resources there because my boy Samuel needs them more than me, right? So this would be if I was playing as Anna. You could also spend a resource to smuggle stuff that's from the stronghold. Again, then you spend that as an action to upgrade your objective. So I threw a lot out there really quick. Let's just get into the gameplay. It will flow pretty smooth. Brian says a filler between Maze Knight and Spirit Island. Yeah, something. So fishing lessons. My my fishing lessons career ended in a resounding defeat, apparently, which is fine. So let's get to the. I'll try to pull this up so you can kind of see how the legacy thing works without doing any spoilers. Again, this is the intro scenario. I don't have the sticker sheet to like do the legacy campaign on my own anyway, but hopefully I will get that soon. And because this is something I will actually play through because I find the card manipulation to be an interesting little puzzle. So the campaign book contains each chapter of the Wildtails, a pirate legacy story, as well as rules that are for the campaign only. We're going to start the campaign. there was a link to the errata page. It's very, very well done. I'm very impressed with this app. It's super user friendly, and they did a really good job of informing people of the sticker problem to make sure that no one started the campaign until they got that addressed. I would be surprised. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It didn't affect their entire production. It only affected, like, I think they said like an eighth of the products of their first print. So, it is what it is, but they're definitely on top of it. I've been very impressed with Button Shy as a company for sure. All right, prologue 1813. America is at war with Britain. The unstable political and economic climate encourages rampant piracy throughout the Gulf of Mexico. Spies and saboteurs on both sides of the war use the pirates to gain information and smuggle important assets. Tortuga Bay, a pirate empire, flourishes just outside of New Orleans. Teeming with roguish rodents, reptilian mercenaries, and scoundrels of all kinds, Tortuga's treacherous bay provides the perfect location to harbor captured ships, while its hidden tributaries are ideal for smuggling contraband into the city. As up-and-coming smugglers in the new, I said New Orleans, but it's like New Orleans Underground. You're always on the lookout for opportunities to expand your business. Tonight you head to Coquette's, a seedy dance hall in one of the city's roughest neighborhoods. Amid the thumping two steps at Coquette's, you strike up a conversation with the renowned Lafayette brothers, Sly Jean and Ruthless Pierre. These twin rats hold great power in Tortuga Bay. Your boldness pays off with a job. Jean unravels a worn map and points out the location of an old, mostly destroyed stronghold on a small island in Tortuga. Start the campaign. Prologue unlocks. We have Anna and Samuel. There are other characters on the back of these cards, so you unlock them at other points. We have our stronghold card. There are a bunch of places for stickers to add to that, and we're going to go to Chapter 1. The Tortuga Bay Hideout. A band of rogue pirates plan to raid the munitions supply of one of the Lafayette's hideouts near the stronghold ruins. Impressed by your previous work, the Lafayettes ask you to defend the hideout and to defeat the raiders. In exchange, they offer to let you set up your smuggling operation right in the heart of Tortuga Bay, provided, of course, that you still do the occasional favor for them once you're up and running. So the scenario setup, the raiders are our threat. It's threat 1, there are 0 captured cards. Now, what a captured card is at various points, the raiders are going to take cards out of your deck. The smaller the deck is, the less actions you can do in any one round, and you only have 7 rounds to complete the objectives. So again, that's getting to level 4 of both of these, 1 each for each character, and then defeating the raiders after you have unlocked the ability to do so. All right, so them capturing cards is a problem. You can fight them at any point, though, to get capture cards back into the game, and we'll see how that works out. Our objective 1 is the hideout. Objective 2 is the explosives. To get to any level of the hideout, so get to level 1, and then to get to level 2, and to get to level 3, if you're either getting the initial level or advancing, you have to spend resources, 3 swords and a barrel. To get to any level of the explosives, you have to have 3 coin and a sword. When the scenario ends, select the outcome, victory or defeat. Whee! All right. So what I'm going to do is shuffle up this deck here, and we are going to get started. Again, the Raiders do not start with any captured cards, which is super helpful. Now, as an aside, this game was co-designed by Dustin Dobson and Milan Zivkovic. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Dustin, I think Milan as well, were very involved. They're co-designers of Battlecrest, so they do a lot of Button Shy stuff. It seems. I think they also co-designed Rove, which is a game that's more and more on my radar. I'm very curious about that one, so I might ask for a review copy of that at some point when I have space in the calendar. So, but yeah, Dustin actually stopped by during my live stream of Battlecrest. It was super helpful. So always appreciate when a designer can make the time in his schedule or her schedule to show up. So we're going to do Anna's turn first. Now, Anna doesn't have many options the first turn of the game, so she's really just looking at this location. Now, as the beginning of every turn, you're going to check the symbol up here to see if there's a crisis. There's only a crisis if the symbol on the card of the location you're in matches a symbol that is underneath the threat card. And if it does, then you would look at the corresponding icon and trigger that ability. Again, early on, the threats are not that awful. There are a couple that we're going to have to really work our way around, and there's ways to deal with that in tactics and strategies, but we'll get there. So really my only two options are to just take one coin, because that's a level 1 reward. I don't have a sword to spend, so I cannot steal supplies. I do not have a barrel to spend, so I cannot repair and sell a ship. Now I could try to swindle the sailors. I'd be testing guile. I don't know what chesting is. But I don't know if it's suitable for work either. So I'll try not to do too much chesting. I'm trying to see if there are names for what these icons are. Did not seem. Oh, savvy, bravery, and deception. So savvy is like the little quill feather here. Bravery is the fist, and deception is the mask symbol. So I could test mask 6, and that would give me a wild symbol of sorts, and that could be really helpful. So if we're gonna do the skill test, I'm gonna look at my deception, and we're going to test it against swindling the sailors. Now, to do a test, I need to reveal the second card in the stack. If there's only one card in the stack, there's other things you do, but we'll get to there then. And we're going to see if these chaos markers match. So this is like kind of a brownish like background with an eyeball. This is a purplish background with a flame. They don't match, so we're fine. However, I got a little unlucky because my deception value is a 4. I add the revealed card, it's a 5. I needed a 6 to swindle the sailors. I fail, so since I fail, I just put this over here in the discard pile. If I had succeeded, I would get the level 4 reward on this, and that would go here. But I am a big fat ratty failure. We're gonna go to Samuel, and I guess I'm a squirrely failure. So I'm a squirrely failure over here, and then we have a little rat over here because squirrels and rats are clearly the best of friends. Samuel has two options. Now Samuel can test his bravery, but I would need a 4 because he's coming in at a 4, and that's a test of an 8. So really, that's not realistic. He doesn't have a coin to spend, doesn't have a barrel to spend, so he's going to recruit the mercenaries. So we get the level 1 reward, which gives him 2 swords. Going back to Anna. Now Anna can test her guile. She can test her guile. Is that right? Nope. Savvy. But I would need a 3 to get the wild. That seems not realistic. Or I could just take the 2 barrels. That's not a great setup. Don't like what's happening. I'm going to go for the wild again. That's fine. So I have a 3 savvy. We're doing a test. They don't match. I add 3 to 3. I get a 6. I succeed. Let me get the wild. So I flip this to the reward number 4 and put that underneath Anna. Samuel can take that sword right off the bat. He can test bravery. I would need a 2 that doesn't have a lightning bolt. I can't spend a sword for anything, not that I would want to, but I really want to get, I have 2 swords already. I want to get a sword in the barrel for Samuel, because then I can get level 1 of the hideout objective, which would make some sense. So, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if I try to do the free the jailed crewmates, I would just need a 2. I think that wild could come in handy, plus the cannon I could spend as a resource if I want to smuggle goods out of the stronghold. We'll talk about smuggling when I do it. I'll do it at least once. So let me go ahead and do the test. So I'm going to reveal these. Do they match? They do match. I would have succeeded if they didn't, but since they match, I'm cursed, and I failed the test. So that just comes over there, and I don't get the wild symbol. So I swung for the fences, and you best believe I horribly missed. So now for Anna's turn, so I could take a sword, but I don't want just a sword. That's just not going to really be very helpful. So I can spend this gem as a wild. So I'm going to do that, and that's going to let me take level 3, which is going to be 2 coins and a sword, and that gives me. So that's going to be the level 3. Nope, that's the level 3 rewards. I flip this over and we put this under here. I'm going to need 3 coins and a sword to have her do level 1 of the explosives. We go back to Samuel. Samuel can spend a sword to get 2 barrels and a coin. That's not helpful. He could spend a coin to get 2 swords and a barrel. I don't have any coins. So Samuel's just going to take this barrel, this level 1 reward. I could test my, that's interesting. I could test my guile, which would give me 2 wilds. I would need a 3 that doesn't match. And I'm feeling gambly, guys. I'm not going to lie. Because 2 wilds is really nice. So I'm going to test my guile. I'm coming in at a 5. the moons match. They're not moons. 5 plus 2 though is I fail, so my gambles have proven very unwise. Is how this is playing out, unfortunately. So we're gonna go to Anna's turn. Anna's gonna just take the 2 coins because that's exactly what she needs to get to level 1, which is great. We go back to Samuel. Samuel could test Guile, but I would need a 5 that doesn't match. That seems it's not Guile, it's Deception. That's not. What's the one I tested before? Yeah, I keep saying the wrong thing. I tested Savvy. I could test Deception, but there's no way I'm going to get the 5 there. So I don't have many options. I'm just going to take this 1 sword. Anna is, oh, and then the barrel's there, which is perfect. So I know that Samuel is up next. He's going to be able to take that barrel, which is great because now Anna can basically discard these 2 cards. So she's discarding 3 coins and a sword. And that's going to get her the first level of the explosives. The explosives are going to add 1 level to her bravery. So now her bravery is coming in at a 6. On Samuel's turn, he's going to take this barrel. Doesn't mind if he does. Don't mind if I do, because now he's going to be able to upgrade next. Unfortunately, the pile is going to be empty, so those cards will not be in the pile going into round 2. But, you know, it was a good start for us. At the end of the round, I could try to get a wild, or I could just take the coin. I think I'm going to try to get the wild because wilds are super flexible. You know, they're wilds after all. So when there's no more cards underneath, how you're going to do it, since I'm testing Savvy. Now, the upside of this, if I fail, I'll have 1 more card in the deck for next turn. So that's why I think going for the wild makes a little bit more sense, especially since Samuel still has 3 cards under him, which is a problemo. I'm going to just shuffle these, and then I'm going to roll a d6 to add some randomization. I rolled a 1. We'll see what it is. It doesn't match, so now I can test the modifier. It's a 3 plus a 4. I do succeed, so I will get the level 4 reward, which gives me a wild, which does take another card out of the deck, which isn't ideal, but at least, you know, I have an extra resource which will help me level up. So I'm definitely a little bit behind schedule where I want to be. I'm shuffling these 6 cards. We're going to advance to round 2, and I'm going to roll a die, add some randomization, and then this card is going to go underneath the Raiders. Now, what do cards underneath the Raiders do? Well, card underneath the Raiders means a couple things. One, it means that, again, my deck is shorter, so the more cards there, the worse. It also means it's harder to fight the Raiders, because now, without a card of the Raiders, I would be able to defeat the Raiders by doing a deception test against a 5. But since they have a card of them, it's 5 plus 1 card each under them, so it's actually 5 plus 1. So I would need to do a deception test of a 6, which is a little bit less ideal. Now, Anna took the last turn in the round 1, so we're going to go to round 2, and Samuel's going to go. Samuel could do a couple things. Now, again, I could just go ahead and do an upgrade, but I think for Samuel, he likes those barrels. They're just sitting there. He's just going to go ahead and he's going to take those barrels. So again, we do a crisis check. If I get a purple background with a flame, we're going to have to trigger that effect, which is right underneath it. But again, we can ignore that for now. I'm just going to go ahead and take that barrel. We go to Anna's turn. Now, Anna needs 3 coins and a sword to advance to level 2. Right now, we just have a wild. I could spend that wild to get 3 barrels. I can spend that wild to get 3 swords. Neither of those are great. Oh, that's super interesting for Samuel, though. But again, it's unfortunate. Let me do that. Anna's going to spend this gem as a barrel, and she's going to take 3 swords, and then at the end of the turn, she's going to store them underneath the stronghold. We go to Samuel's turn. Samuel checks that. It's not a purple thing, so it doesn't matter. Samuel is going to spend a barrel from there. There's 2 barrels on there, and that allows him to smuggle. The smuggle ability is here. You spend 1 resource of any sort to get any resources that are underneath the stronghold. And now he has another barrel on this card. He's going to spend that barrel plus these 3 swords that he just got from the stronghold. That's going to give him the ability to level up on the hideout, which gives him an extra deception value. So we have 2 of the 8 upgrades that we need. Once we have all 8 upgrades, we have upgraded both objectives to their max, and then we'll be able to take out the raiders. So the nice thing too is we were able to kind of stall a little bit and left this card available to Anna. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any. Well, she might just actually try to go ahead and get this wild thing done again. I mean, she could also test against the Raiders and try to knock him down a little bit. They're both a 4 right now. Might be a good opportunity. So yeah, she's going to go ahead and fight against the Raiders. So she's coming in with a deception of a 4. The Raiders are a 5 plus 1, so a 6. We do the normal skill test. They don't match each other, which is good. That's a 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. That's enough. We defeated the Raiders. We get to take this card out. If you defeat the Raiders once both objectives are fully upgraded, that's how you win the game. So and the more you can kind of keep cards out of his from underneath him in the deck, the longer your rounds will be, the more opportunities you'll have to do what you need to do to win. We now go to Samuel's turn. I think Samuel just upgrades again, and then we're just going to have to start. It'd be great if Anna can get a barrel because she really needs 3 coins and a sword, and again she has no resources now. She just basically spent her round helping Samuel, but Samuel is going to do that. He's going to spend these resources underneath him. That's 3 swords and a barrel. He gets the level 2 of hideout, which now gives him 2 more to his savvy, which means he's got 7 savvy. He still has the 1 more to his deception, so he's 7 savvy and 4 deception. We go to Anna's turn. Anna's just going to take that coin. There's no point in doing the test because it's just 1 wild, and she really wants the coin anyway. Hold on. She would need a 2 that doesn't match. I mean, wilds can be helpful. All right, fine. She'll go for the wild. Doesn't match. Oops. Get really unlucky here. So deception 4 plus 1. We fail. Since we failed, that just goes there. So she really hasn't done anything useful. And Samuel is going to test his savvy. He's got a 5, 6, 7. He's testing against an 8 for 2 wilds. Again, those don't match. We got lucky that we never. This was underneath Samuel, so we just never pulled the purple background. Had we pulled the purple background, we'd have to discard the bottom card from the scene deck. Yeah, these were all under him, so we just never had to do it, which is pretty crazy. So I guess there's only 1 purple card. So it's I guess you can start really tracking how many of these icons are really in play at any one time. So he's going to test his savvy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a lot of cards here, which is super nice going into the next round. I roll that. It's a 2. Second card. It doesn't match, so I don't fail that way. 7 plus 3 means I succeed, so he's going to go ahead and get the 2 wilds, which is reward number 4. These are going to shuffle together. We go to round 3, and remember, we're going to capture 1 card for the Raiders every time there's a new round, so they'll be beefed up a little bit again. But again, we'll have a nice long round for sure. Ready then. We're going to roll a die. There's 9 cards here. Maybe 10? No, 9 cards still. I roll a 3. That's the card that goes underneath the Raiders. Now we have to watch out for 2 symbols that could trigger negative effects. One is the moon with the blue background. The other one is the fire with the purple background. And neither one of them are great. So what are we going to do? It was just Samuel's turn. He won that test at the end. So we go back to our pal Anna. Anna could test her savvy, but she's only a 3, and that's not great. We really just need to start getting her resources. Things have been a little slow for our friend Anna over here. But, she really wants a wild, so let's go ahead and test. So we're going to look at the next thing. 3 plus 1, we failed. Just gambling. Now we go to Samuel's turn. Samuel, there is a crisis. This matches that, so we definitely want to get that card the heck off of there. And what does that do? Capture the top card for the discard pile. So now there are 2 cards underneath the Raiders. That's a really nasty effect. So that means the raiders, to defeat them, are going to need 7 deception. Anna needs to level up with a quickness. Samuel's turn now. He's going to go ahead and grab that card, which gives him 2 swords. He's going to keep leveling up very fast, it appears. On Anna's turn, she could test combat. Again, that's a yellow crisis symbol, so that doesn't have any impact on us. I think she does want to test combat, so she is going to try to get a wild again because this is going so well for her. And those don't match. Her combat's a 5, 6 plus 4 is a 10. That beats the 7, so she can take resource number 4. We go to Samuel's turn. Those symbols don't match, so there's no crisis effect. It's a coin. I think I want to leave that for Anna. So Samuel is going to spend his 2 swords here, and he has 2 wilds. He'll use 1 as a sword, he'll use 1 as a barrel, and that's going to give him what he needs to get to level 3. This gives him a perpetual coin. He always has the coin, and he doesn't ever have to. He could just use, I have a coin, boom, and he never has to spend it, which can be super helpful. He's already at the level 3 of hideout. And why that was important, because Anna can now, on her turn, by doing the upgrade of the objective, it left that card available for Anna. Anna's going to spend the gem and is going to use that as a barrel and take 3 coins, which is reward number 3. Remember, she likes coins and swords. We go to Samuel. Crisis effect check. Nothing. Samuel's going to go ahead and test his savvy. He's going to test. He needs to beat a 6. We look at the next thing. Those 2 symbols don't match. He's at a 7. I'm sorry, going in. So he definitely gets this wild, which is great. Anna's turn. Crisis check. Uh-oh, we have a crisis. What's the crisis? Discard 1 card from the bottom of the deck. It's the blue. Again, we're doing that symbol there. So this comes away. That's a discard, not a capture. Anna really wants a sword. So since she doesn't have a sword, she's going to actually go ahead and test her deception. We need to beat a 7 because it's 5, 6, and 7. We're testing a deception, so I need a 3 that doesn't match the moon. I got a 2 that was a big fat failure. That's not going well. Samuel's going to go ahead. He's going to test his deception. His deception is a 4, so he needs a 3 that doesn't match the moon. Or it doesn't match the eyeball. Sorry about that, because again, that card got discarded. The Raiders are getting too strong. Can we get lucky here? Getting those cards back in this card pile will be great. So there's 5 cards here. I rolled a 1. I failed as well, so things are getting a little bit harder. We really need to level up Anna because she'll have some really good chances to defeat the Raiders and get those cards back in. So not a lot of cards in the deck for round number 4. Again, there's only 7 rounds. After 7 rounds, if you don't defeated the threat, you lose. I rolled a 5. We put this underneath the Raiders. So now we need an 8 deception when we test against them. And there's still 2 symbols that could trigger here. There is a place for a sticker right now. So there is no symbol in the round 1 place. So that's not really a concern. Samuel, they both just failed. Samuel tested last. We now go to Anna's turn. She needs that sword. She will take the level 1 reward. Thank you very much. We go to Samuel's turn. Check for a crisis effect. There is none. There was no crisis effect on this one either because that was a yellow lightning bolt. Samuel is going to go ahead and there's 2 coins there. I think we want to leave those coins for Anna. We can't. We would like to, but we can't. We need 2 barrels. Ooh, that could be helpful. We're going to spend this diamond as a barrel to get 2 swords in a barrel. That is going to be the level 2 reward. I mean, Sam was really close to being fully leveled up on his objective. Crisis check. There is a crisis. Capture the top card for the discard pile. So we need a 9 guile all of a sudden, which is super nutty. The best way for us to do that is to make sure Anna levels up. So but the problem is she levels up. That's still going to be in play, which is really, really bad. So we don't want that to happen. Samuel's going to go ahead and he'll test combat. Combat for him is, he has a coin too. Excellent. So he's going to spend this perpetual coin of his to just grab this, and he'll get the level 2 reward, which will go right there. Anna's turn. Anna, this triggers that again. but it's captured. It was the same symbol. So capture the top card from the discard pile. Fortunately, there are no cards in the discard pile, so we don't need to worry about that, but we can't just leave that there because it's super problematic. So, because if she levels up, then that's going to be a card. Discard pile, that card stays there. We trigger that again. That's really bad. So she's going to go ahead and she's just going to do a guile testing savvy, but savvy would be useless. So she's just going to take the barrel. Samuel's turn, crisis check. That does match, but it's a crossbones. There is no effect, which is helpful. Samuel's going to go ahead and level up, get these cards back in the discard pile before the next round. He's fully at level 4. Anna's turn, she's going to go ahead and level up. She's spending 3 coins and a sword. She gets to level 2 finally, but gives her some really important deception value. Samuel's turn. Unfortunately, he's going to have to trigger the end of the round. He doesn't really want to take that. I mean, it's 2 wilds. He could potentially give that to Anna with the gem. So he's going to go ahead and test his combat. His combat is just a 4, though. We're really just leaving this card in the deck because, you know, badness. So there's only 4 cards here, which is not good. We rolled a 1. We had a combat 4 plus 4. It doesn't match. We actually succeeded at that. So we're going to get the 2 gems, and we could put the 2 gems underneath. He's fully leveled up, which is bananas. We're going to put the 2 gems underneath the stronghold. Anna can take those when she needs them. This comes here. Again, only 4 cards. The Raiders are going to now be leveled up again, which is super gross. Because this goes to round 5. I think the Raiders might have gotten out of our league at this point. And so now we need a 10 guile to defeat him. So I'm going to need a 4 that doesn't match the thing. Woof. All right. I don't even know if that's possible. But Anna's turn. She's going to test. It doesn't match, but it's not a thing. Oh, shoot. There is a crisis. We have to discard the bottom card. Oh, that's the card I needed. That's literally the only card that's going to defeat that 10. The Raiders have gotten away from us. I don't have any way possible to match that. Unfortunately, just lost a lot of tests that I needed to win. So yeah, Raiders have taken too many cards away from us. We're not going to have a chance to really catch up to them. So that's going to end in defeat because I'm at 4 plus 2 is a 6. I needed, if this card was next, I would have passed. All those cards go back in the discard pile. You notice I did try to beat that test a few times, just never actually was able to get those cards back. And then we pulled that sword thing a couple of times. 2 cards got captured. So that's how the Raiders just kind of got out in front of us and just kind of ended this game in defeat. But it's a cool little puzzle. You're definitely required to, like, you need to get a little lucky how the cards come out. But again, it's not an overbearing amount of luck. Just was not able to pull it off this time. But there's 9 scenarios in the campaign, I think. They're all, you know, there's different abilities that you can unlock. When you win, there's like different stickers that you'll add. There's different abilities you can add to your characters, which can be really helpful. And then again, there's going to be different abilities also though added to what happens when the Raiders, when the different threats, there's going to be other icons that get triggered. A lot of the other threats, as soon as they come in, they capture a card or 2 right off the jump, so you're gonna have to worry about that. But there's cool card play. It's a nice little quick game. My guess is once I have the stickers, I can play through this campaign, you know, in a couple hours. I do not think it's going to be rather onerous. Here's some of the other threats that they're all on the backs of these cards. So all these locations on the backs is where you see the other objectives, and then the stat bumps that they give you, the things that you need to get them. So for this one, you only need 2 barrels, but you also need a gem, so that's going to be hard. This is 2 coins and a gem, 3 coins and a barrel, 3 barrels and a coin. And on the other side of the stronghold, there's a time that you'll actually be at sea. And when you're out to sea, there's certain things that can happen. And then you'll be able to like avoid a crisis by spending a cannon. You can give yourself a buff of 2 by spending a cannon. That could be important. But again, unfortunately, just just lost too many tests. Got a little bit unlucky there, which made that because when I'm live streaming is when I get the most unlucky. It's just It serves me right. It's good. So that is Wild Tales. Maurice Andrews, what's up, bro? Is there a game that's similar to this that you're familiar with? Um, no, it's a good question. Maurice, for those who don't know, Maurice, definitely check him out. He live streams. I think he does a lot of Marvel Champions, and I forget what other titles you feature, man. If you want to put that in the chat, definitely make that happen. But from the resource management standpoint, where you're just trying to get the various levels by spending, I mean, I think a lot of games will have something similar. I think the way that Button Shy just like excels at multi-use cards to get everything down to like 18 cards is super interesting. The the different rewards you can get, where it's like, well, you could just take that base reward, or you can spend this thing to do this other reward. I just kept getting rather unlucky. I mean, the fact I lost a lot of tests with Anna, that had I got some of those gems, if I got her to level 2 earlier, it would have been a lot easier for me to defeat the raiders before they got absolutely out of control, because I just never got my deception value up quick enough with her. So I think you have like these interesting choices where, if you're playing a more gambly game, if you win as, if I won at a normal rate, I would have kind of steamrolled this scenario. But since I lost so many times early, like the Raiders again just got too big for me to take on. But yeah, nothing's really coming to mind. I mean, Button Shy I think their designs are just they're unique and clever within the construct of what they are and what they do. So this is a cool one, man. I didn't know when they sent me fishing lessons in this. I was like, oh, we'll see. Wild Tales out of the two is definitely one that there's a fun little puzzle here. This is the kind of thing you can just kind of knock out, and it's definitely worth the play. Fishing lessons, unless you have a strong affinity for what it is, you know, or again, if I don't want to call it a kids game because that feels so pejorative, but like it feels like a kids game to me. It's like a little kids puzzle, um, or again, someone who just really likes fishing. I mean, I could see for some people, especially just how the flavor text is, like it being just really more about nostalgia than about game. Just like personal experiences with fishing. If you went fishing with your grandfather, like this is kind of be one of those things that could be really, meaningful. Um, for me, I found it just a bad game. Um, if you're not approaching it with that context. But Wild Tales, like, yeah, this is an interesting little. I mean, it does fall into the trap. Like, I will the kiddiness of art in board games is a thing for me. I'm just kind of like, you know, the more I see it, the less I like it, and that's something I just kind of need to get over. I just feel like a lot of games have just gone really like kiddie with their art. Um, this is definitely not a kid's game though. There's a little bit to it. There's a lot to it for sure to kind of once you get the system together, and I'm sure that gets further amplified by the expansion, by the legacy components and the stickers and whatnot. But I mean, this is really I don't know, like the new Spirit Island spirits. I mean, even like pop like Root, Everdell. It's like I'm kind of over like cute little animal critters. Like, I don't know. I mean, for me, like, give me like, I mean, I just learned Siege of Valeria. I was like there was something refreshing about opening up Siege of Valeria, and like, yeah, like monsters, like genuine monsters. I mean, Uprising has like a very dark slant to its art in a way that I really love. Just this stuff is just so juvenile. Like I don't want to feel like I'm playing through a kid's like a Disney movie. So there is that. But I know people love that stuff, and Button Shy obviously is definitely gearing toward a different kind of gamer, um, than necessarily solo playthroughs, right? So I get it, but this is really kiddie, dude. In a way that makes me like excited about the game a little bit less, for sure. That said, the gameplay is strong enough for me to deal with it and overcome. Maurice didn't list a Button Shy game. I've been hearing about that in the past few months. It's cool to finally be able to see some of their games. Marie says that almost made me not pick up Flamecraft, but it was fire. I feel you in a childish art. It's not my style, but it is inviting. Yeah, man, that's Flamecraft. It's a huge reason that Flamecraft did nothing for me. Like I played it, I won. I was like, I don't need to play it again. I was not enamored with Flamecraft at all. I don't know. It's so freaking kiddie, dude, and it crushed the. I mean, people were raving about that game, and I'm like, I mean, and there's something about it. Like, I think if you gave that a retheme, those same mechanics, I might have been more impressed with it. But I think with the kiddiness, I'm just like, I wasn't impressed by any of it. I was like, okay, this is for a kid. Like, and I think the whole time there's that dissonance. Like, this game doesn't seem like it's made for me, right? Like, it's made for somebody, and if people love it, that's awesome. Like, it's just not made for me. Like, it was. There's something very jarring about that. Greg wants to beat orcs and not pet deer. It's like, for real, man. It's like great, or even like cute little reptilian alligators. Like, what is this, dude? I don't know, man. I'm getting whiny. I'm becoming a cantankerous old man in my playthroughs, so I got to be careful. But yeah, like it's fine. The art's great. I mean, look, people love art like this, so it's just the whole. I don't expect all the board games to be exactly what I'm looking for on every level. So for people who love the art, that's totally cool. And again, like if you have like a kid, I mean, this is like if you have like a slightly older child who you think could get this, or you could help them through it. The art is obviously super helpful in context like that, and I totally get it from that standpoint. It's just really not for me, for sure. Brian Scott says in his games for sure. And Brian says no Jerry Hawthorne for you. I don't know the reference, man, so I'll have to Google it. So I'll get more cultural cachet. I guess I'm like the worst, but so that's it. So two budget games. Neither one overly complex. Wildtails is definitely more gamery. Two emphatic losses, so that's about right for how things go. I assure you, I think I won across both these games. I think I won the last 7 games I played in like getting ready for this. So like 2 or 3 from Fishing Tales, and definitely like the last 4 times I played Wild Tales. So I find that funny. And it's a thing, but Mice and Mystics, Familiar Tales. Oh god, yeah, even more. Creature Comforts is another one. Like, what is happening? There has to be. I don't know. Stop, man. I mean, even like Wingspan, like like doesn't really have like super kiddie art. I mean, that to me is like it's like the Audubon Society, but like. I mean, Wingspan, I'm surprised didn't go with like cute little cartoon birds, because it just seems to be the thing. But yeah, Mice and Mystics, Familiar Tales, man, Everdell, Root, all these freaking games with this cute little art. It's too much. It's too much, kids. I'm trying to think of anything yeah, I don't think I've purchased anything myself. I've played a lot of these games, but yeah, I haven't played any Jerry Hawthorne. But yeah, thanks for connecting that dot for sure. That's that. We're done. It's been a humbling experience for all y'all. For me, I hope it was been an enjoyable experience for all y'all. Cascadia, don't get why that one is so popular. Interesting. Cascadia doesn't have the kitty art to me. To me, that's like more pure nature. I definitely want to play it. I'm very curious about the puzzle. Because I've heard it's like what, it's like a Carcassonne killer. So I think like that's gonna hit a certain branch of the market that I almost, from what I know about the game, I understand the popularity more. I understand the popularity of that more than Flamecraft, because Cascadia, I feel like you can put on the table with a wider group of people and kind of have an enjoyable experience. Like Carcassonne for me is something I can put on the table with a wide group of people. The only thing that's hard about Carcassonne is the farmer strategy is so like, if you're not a gamer, that's like an especially weird strategy. So often when I teach someone Carcassonne, we play without farmers, which makes it a very different game, but it's a better game for like new players. So if Cascadia can kind of fill that niche and let me play a gamery game with people, and I can play with the full rule set without overwhelming them. I mean, the farmer strategy with the new player, just if you play with farmers, like you're just gonna crush them because they're not gonna understand until they see it, and that always feels like mean to me. So I'm like, I'd rather just play without it and just have a you know a worse game, but a better experience, if that makes sense. But Cascadia, like I think it. I'm very curious. My friend just bought it like a month ago at this point. We just haven't gotten to the table yet, so it's definitely something I want to play before I say too much more about it for sure. I mean, I'm gonna actually want to play something before I have an opinion about it. But from what I do know, like I understand why I can see why it's like hitting a certain segment of the market that kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I get that more than I get like the unbelievable love for like Arc Nova, right? Or Dune Imperium. Like I just don't see it. I mean, Lost Ruins of Arnak, these games that just hit and like people go crazy about them, like they're the best game ever made, and I'm like, it's fine. It too is a game. Like I don't know. I'm missing something, but not. I'm assuming not a hit for our family. All right, cool. I'm curious to play it now. I've heard so few people say that they don't like it. So I'm very curious to play it for sure. So yeah, man, it's a big hobby. So that's the good news. It's a huge hobby. But look, thanks again to Button Shot Games for getting me these two. I genuinely, I promise you I will play through Wild Tales off camera. That's not BS. Like this is a cool game. I also promise you that I will never play this again. One out of two ain't bad. Mike James, I don't see the love for Arnak or Arc Nova either. I own both, and Arnak is on the way out the door. Yeah. Arc Nova for me, because I play a lot of Terraforming Mars because Mrs. Playthrough loves it, and I kind of wish she would learn Arc Nova. I don't own it though, so that's a problem. But I think Arc Nova is a better Terraforming Mars for me. In some ways, I find the end very jarring. I find some strategies very broken if depending on how those cards come out, and I find the player mats wildly unbalanced in a way that is jarring for me. So a lot of jarring. There's a lot of jarringness for me in Arc Nova, but I probably would prefer that over Terraforming Mars. My problem with Terraforming Mars these days, when you play with experienced players, you get into these games I think so often where like everyone's chasing points and they're not actually doing the things that are required to terraform Mars, and it just makes that game very long. I don't like the fact that the point of the game is terraforming Mars, but that whole process is somewhat removed from the scoring. So again, if you're chasing scoring, I mean, there's some connection, but not a ton. And if you're chasing scoring and no one's terraforming Mars, the game just drags. Where Arc Nova, as you score, you are inherently moving toward an endgame trigger. I find better. I do think they would have done themselves a favor had they just added the scores, because I don't think it's a satisfying game for people to play 2.5, 3 hours and they score -6 points. Like that's not great. I mean, it's fine for gamers, but I think if you're trying to make a game that's popular for non-gamers, but what the heck do I know? I mean, Arc Nova in the top 10 already, like, which is like mind-blowing to me. Mike, yeah, the girlfriend of my niece love Arc Nova, and it would go too. Dude, I know that feeling. Sarah loves the game. It's staying, man. I will play a game I do not like with my wife any day, and that's fine. It is what it is. I just love playing with her. So I get to build a zoo. I mean, there is something very satisfying about the zoo building, and I don't know. I'm curious to see how an expansion addresses that game, but how are you going to add more cards to that deck? It's just an absurdly large deck in a way that I think to its detriment, for sure. So there's a lot in Arc Nova that makes me scratch my head. But in first time design, it's a thing. But yeah, like it's crazy seeing the buzz for some of these games, and you gotta play them, and then you're like, is that it? All right. I mean, I feel that way about Root a little bit. Fine. I don't get all the buzz. Um, I think New York Times just came out with their 4 best games. It was like I think it was Ark Nova, Arnak, Root, and Brass Birmingham. And I'm like, well, I like one of those 4. So yeah, it was like Wirecutter just released the 4 best strategy games. But it is what it is. So we'll be back tomorrow. I got Fathomless Mud against level 6 Prussia. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I need to make a shorter game. So we're going against Prussia. We're going against Prussia just to make that happen. Next week, we got Shadow Watch, Mage Knight, my top 10 for January, which is going to be Spirit Island based, so I'm super excited about that. And then I have the first Siege of Valeria. I'm going to get on the channel next week. Super excited about that. And the 4th game is a mystery, so you'll like it though. I promise. It's your favorite game, so you definitely need to tune in every day next week. Maze Night, Mike James. That's why I avoided Maze Night for so long. I thought it can't be that good. If so many people like it. Laugh out loud. Yeah, dude. I hear that. I definitely hear that. But I think that's different when people are still talking about a game 10 years later. The way people talk about Mage Knight, it's a lot different to me than I'm curious to see how much people talk about Ark Nova or Arnak in like 5-10 years. But again, people talk about Dune Imperium more and more now, and I understand the expansions really fixed some of the issues I have with Dune Imperium. So I think I need to play it with the expansions before I rag on it too much. I played that game 4 times and I'm like, no. No, I don't get it. It's not that good. But it's good for some people, and again, I don't want to yuck on someone's yum. So, it is what it is. If people love it, the same with you love Crusoe, great. You love Crusoe and still watch my channel, even better. Not for me. You're just not going to see Crusoe anymore. So that's it. But I don't know. I feel like every time I start ragging on games, Crusoe has to come out of my mouth at some point. So it's like the obligatory mention of Robinson Crusoe. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I will sign off. Mike, Brian, Maurice, have a great day. Everybody else, have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, happy gaming.
Solo.